All right, Juan Carlos is starting us off with the Sicilian. Love to see it. Okay, these moves should be familiar. Queen c7, a6. Okay, queen d2. Now, I've been playing b5 a few times, but after queen d2, I do like to start with the knight. Knight to g4 is kind of a nice option. Okay, bishop e2 looks a little bit soft. This threatens the pawn, and then maybe f3 and potentially already d5 could be thrown out there. Kind of liking that. It's a very direct approach, but bishop e2 I'm not used to. And whoa, okay, castling I'm definitely not used to. And we should just be up a clean pawn here. The question is whether we want to take or go back. I think those are the only questions that anyone should have here. Might just go back. Although it has knight e4. Let's take and go back with our bishop. So yeah, we want a pretty clean pawn there, I want to say. Pretty clean pawn. Center pawn as well, so super valuable. e5. Giving me that light square bishop feels great for me. This one's kind of tempting. Queen exchange, but man, it's like disrespectful not to take the bishop here. Okay, bishop f4, there's e5. Okay, you could go bishop g3. I mean, it's not the end of the world. Black has a great position, but bishop g3, I would go probably rook d8, guard my pawn, and then yeah, f6. Just looks like a really comfy position. Very comfortable position. Yeah, he had bishop g3. But he was thrown off this game. He lost his center pawn. He lost his bishop. This was a disaster of an opening. But the reason I went bishop b4 is because bishop e2 I think is a little bit soft. Now if he goes f3, d5 is a big achievement for black in the opening. If white can't respond to e5, this is usually a good sign. So I don't know. This is what I was gonna do. But yeah, the other more natural way to respond to all this would just be like b5. Usually queen d2, the move is knight f6, because your opponent's intending long castling, but you have options here. Both b5 and knight f6 are fine. e4, more Sicilian for us. Okay, c4, don't see it too often, to be honest. I'll start with the knight, keep the Taimanov ideas with e6, a6. I'll even go queen c7. d3. So he's not really trying to play d4 this game, I wouldn't say. Let's go for this. Okay, so a4 is once again, he's clamping all of these squares, but he's giving a few dark squares as well. I think let's go here. It's a very solid position, I'll give you that, sir. Definitely solid. Question is, what do we want to do here? Knight here. Don't know if he wants to go d4 or not. Okay, now I know the answer. Takes. Castle. Happy to go back if needed. Just because that's loose, I think knight back is a good move to play now. Okay, I don't think e5 is yet a threat. Okay, I think queen here. Knight takes, our pawn gets defended. f5, so he's definitely sending it here. I'm thinking takes is not a bad move here. The alternative is maybe like this, but I don't mind taking, playing e5. Now that I've seen this, bishop takes, probably bishop here. I don't know. This is gonna be fairly double-edged. I think my opponent has a pretty good position, but it'll depend whether I, play a5 and cement these 3 pawns like that. Okay, takes. So yeah, we're both controlling the squares pretty well here. Go a5 so that we're controlling the dark square. He can't really move his pawns. I can't really move mine. Let's go here. Okay, probably here. e4 is definitely a consideration. Rook here, probably not where you want to go. You can't really push these pawns yet. Okay, now this is just mandatory. Must do it. Here, probably just keep pushing. Jack. This is gonna get really dicey there. Check. I think we can get away with this. Takes an f6. Oh, he goes f6. Okay. Now we get maybe queen in here. Queen here, h6, I really like. Trying to take that f6 pawn here. Takes. This is not a bad pre-move. Yeah, now we get to take the pawn and yeah. And that'll be a easy pre-move mate. GG. Good game. This is a setup that I'm glad we got to see, because honestly, I don't think the setup that we have is the best against it. It's not a bad setup, but it's definitely not Definitely not the best. Like, as we've been pointing out, white kind of has things covered. So, I mean, when you see c4, it's not really a Sicilian yet. Like, you know it's probably going to be a d3 type of position. So, my instinct in these ones would always be try to play like this, knight e7, knight there, that type of stuff. And yeah, you know, you can play the Taimanov setup, but I wouldn't say you need to play the whole setup. Like, you don't need to put everything exactly as usual. The fact that you've got this, I think that fianchettoing is definitely a little bit nicer. But I decided definitely to play as usual and show you kind of what ends up happening. But you see how you don't really have a lot of aggressive options. Not bad. This position is fine. But, you know, white kind of gets his f4 on you, and I think it's unnecessary for black. We didn't have a great position. So I definitely like bishop on g7 a little bit more. So something like this. You know, if he goes for his setup the way he did in the game. Something like this. You know, then maybe knight d4, knight c6. And then later we can do these kind of moves. But f4, f5 is under much better control when you play like this, and you're still gonna get your b5 advance on the queen side. So I like this setup a lot more than what we did in the game, but decided I'd show you guys what it looks like if you just play truly autopilot the exact same way as a Taimanov. Instead, it's like, okay, c4 just clearly weakens the dark squares, so I think we adjust our variation and just play moves that play directly against the dark squares. So I like this one a little bit better. All right, e4. Get a chance to play our Sicilian. Be the main line, it looks like. Knight c3, queen c7, bishop e3. Pretty much everyone plays this, I want to say. Bishop d3, let's go e5, e7. Okay, queen e2 is a interesting move. It's a little bit different. I'm gonna continue as usual. Okay, he does castle kingside. Knight here. Just gonna keep more pieces on the board. Basically, if you get to like this position and nobody's like taking anything, I am a little bit more interested in preserving the knights with not. You'd never really want to take there, that's for sure. This is always a powerful move. Pretty much forces bishop takes. And yeah, you never want to take with the pawn. So queen takes and rook takes. That'll be the follow-up here. Don't think this one works. Queen needs a square. Let's see here. Oh, wow. Actually, because the queen's not on d2, I do think this merits some consideration. So queen here, just to see what he's up to. Now here there's b3, which is actually a little bit, maybe a little bit annoying. Let's repeat once more, see what he's up to. Yeah, that move isn't really bothering me. Always repeat. Here it actually benefited us tremendously. And it's going to be two pieces for the rook here. Or sorry, two pieces for the rook and two pawns. Yeah, we can't develop here because we're going to get hit, so we got to take this knight. How do we take it? I think the queen is okay. Actually, I don't like giving him queen g3, so I'm going to take with the bishop. Strange, but do what you need to do. Queen g3, happy to take it. f4, I'm gonna go h4 and knight h5 to g3, which looks quite powerful. Here, f4 does kind of hold on to things. Let's just keep it simple and bring the bishop back. If c4, I'm gonna bring the bishop back to d4 so that my bishop doesn't get locked out of the game for any reason. So now I think this feels a lot better. Yeah, go g5. I'm gonna stop these moves. Okay, line up the pieces. Knight g4, I mean, he always has g3, so it's not really winning the game or anything like that yet. But, oh, that's a move I think we like to see. It should start to hurt here. I mean, here, bishop c6, I think, is one of the better looking moves. Check. Check. Double check, by the way. And that'll be a pretty normal situation. So actually, I did something that was unusual, which was, yeah, the queen was on e2. So I think just knight f6 was fine here. Knight c4 is okay, but I think maybe there was a draw there by white. But yeah, usually the queen's on d2. So the fact the queen was on e2, we should have probably just played knight f6. And then if f4, we can jump in. But yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I was like, maybe there's just a draw here. So I had to think about this. I played queen c6, and I was like, wait a second. Wow. So this is a good move to know about. Queen e5, the old engine move, eh? It's kind of gross. That's kind of gross. Queen e5. Ouch. Yeah, that would be a little disgusting. But yeah, with the queen on e2, knight c4 doesn't feel as strong because usually you're forking the queen and bishop. And these positions are, like I said, most endgames are just good for black in the opening, so it's always always comfortable. Just knight f6, bishop e7, castle. I think black's doing amazingly well here. Yeah, knight f6 would be fine. Just usually around here, start to get ideas of keeping pieces on the board. The knight f6, takes, always with the queen. And then, yeah, bishop e7, castle. And continue. Also, once they go f4, there are always ideas like this. e5. Oh, 5 is not very good here, but maybe takes. And these endgames are also, you know, I won't go so far as to say they might be winning for black, but they're quite comfortable. A good example of how comfortable they might be is rook takes c3 here. Seems a little crazy, but I want to say black should probably not be losing this position. This is like an insanely good spot for black to be in. a4, you just play like bishop back to c6, let them take these double pawns, and it's just everything you have is just like one big snake. Like it's just all connected, all defended. So usually I would expect if anyone's getting outplayed this game, it's gonna be white. So they're often this classic sacrifice, rook takes c3. Even here, when it's so unnecessary, black has a fine position, just play normally. Even here, it's actually pretty decent. Well, watch that, e5 in that position wasn't possible, right? Because bishop e3 and queen g2, if you meant here. And yeah, here it's not possible because of mate, so yeah, just not playable. queen f2, knight g4. So yeah, just not possible. But let's say that somehow this line was possible, and for sure it's hanging for many reasons. You have knight takes c3, which hits the queen, so you'll be winning there as well. So yeah, this isn't as scary as you might think. But yeah, for many reasons this doesn't work. On to the next. Good game to magic. Okay, e4 is not yet threatened. As soon as it is, I'll play d3. I have no problem playing d3 here. This is exactly what we expect from a Taimanov type position. If I play b4, e4 admittedly is a little annoying because of the diagonal. So I'm gonna do this. Now b4. Okay. Feels like we should boot the pieces around here a little bit. This one is also kind of tempting, just c5. Let's do this first. Can only assume that, like, you know, g5, g4 has to be the follow-up, right? Or otherwise, it doesn't make much sense. I'm really addicted to this move because if e4, I love d5 as an option. But then takes knight e5, and there's gonna be knight takes f3. That kind of sucks. So I think this might be a more standard approach where the knight has to just go back. Go here. Ooh, taking is definitely not the right move, I think. This will be a little more pleasant for me. Because now these pawns I think are a little overextended. There's no big attack anymore. Bishop d3 will put a lot of pressure. d5. Yeah, so bishop here. Or d5 first. Here there's d5 by black. Don't like allowing that. Let's go d5 first and then we'll bring the bishop here. And now I think knight d4 also hits the pawn, but getting into e6, it's going to be pretty tough to deal with. Okay, f3 looks good. Pretty much forces the knight out. Yeah, that pawn might be a goner. It might be a goner. Now, taking looks good, but knight e6 looks potentially even nastier because this pawn is still being hit. Ooh, knight takes. Man, everything's hanging here. Just gonna double. This looks really tough to deal with. ATB Lightning. Check. can move this knight again. That's kind of the problem. Let's take it back. It's pretty easy. Oh, what was that, TV Lightning? Keep me up to date there, bud. That's just pretty gross. Not much you can do to avoid a loss here. Yeah, knight f5 is a great move, Lolly. The thing is, I realized this position, black's hopeless because the only playable move is this, and after queen takes, it's like, yeah, forced win. So I guess I wanted to keep it simple to calculate, but you're right. Definitely knight f5 was possible. No e4. But you know, we can play c5. No, it's not happening. It's not happening. Not today, it seems. Okay. Oh, let's keep the same setup and see what happens here. Here, 95. A little bit annoying. Let's start with this one. B6, there's knight takes. Okay, here obviously we can't take with the queen, so we'll be taking with the pawn here. And E5 is definitely a move I think we want to play. I know the move F3 will happen, but I'd rather have him play F3 than not. Because now he kind of has to commit it forward. But had I not played this move, he could play H3 with the pawn here, and I think it's a better structure. But now he's kind of stuck with this, like he's committed to it. Okay, let's try to play H4 here. Wow. I don't know why I was like completely forgetting about this move. It's not the end of the world, but it's definitely not nice to miss the whole idea. Also, yeah, now I was gonna play knight d7, but our pawn here is on the wrong square for that. So yeah, we've really really got an uncomfortable position now. So we'll have to go here, and we'll have to take. We'll have to try to blockade on d6, which honestly could work. That'll just be good fortune if it does. F5, it looks tempting for him, but I have to say might be the wrong idea. Okay, let's do this. Here, there's b4. It's kind of unsettling. But we'll get the bishop out to g5, and rook f8, I think, covers any issues over here. Yeah, a4 will be good counterplay for me. Okay, well that's kind of nice. So king h6 allows me to take this, but I'm actually much more interested in taking this. Winning that f-pawn is, I think, more valuable than winning the exchange there. Now a4 is good counterplay. Good counterplay. be careful not to put the bishop there. It's a big mistake, actually. I think we're gonna get our knight to the, the best possible square on the board. Wow. Wait a minute. That move was crazy good. Damn. Yeah, that was a really good move. D6. It was actually not a winning move because I'm still up material, but it was a good move. I didn't realize I was playing at 2200. I should check the ratings more often. Yeah, black's way ahead here, but we're just a little too low on time for this. This was a really good move. Still had optimistic hopes here. 7 seconds, kind of a lot of time when you're playing against a bishop because you can just go on the dark squares. But this move was like threw us into a loop. This, I don't know, queen g5 like doesn't defend f7 anymore. And although it's completely winning, this was a super strong move for the amount of time that that we had. Good game, good game. But yeah, not really a Taimanov, unfortunately. Just kind of did the setup, but this is actually more like a English opening. It starts as the ready knight f3, but still no Taimanov. Gosh darn it. Now we get the white pieces. Man, people have really been avoiding our Taimanov today. I feel like we got 2 or 3 games right at the start, but then nothing after that. The Taimanov always goes well. Okay, let's play here. Funny looking move. Go knight there, but I'll take. Take to start off. I figured you might do that, bud. I think this is probably good enough. He's gonna go f6, so let's just do this. Don't really want to trade with him. Not really sure where the best square is. This move is pretty tempting. Okay, let's just make a bishop move. H4, H5 after castling. I like. Yeah, gotta be the H pawn. Oh no. King G7 is a game-losing move, has to be. We just play G4 and H5, H. So H6 already wins material, but question is if we can win more. The question is, can we win more? Takes, g5, bishop d3 is the icing on the cake. Now the king can't get back, and a rook on h1 will be checkmate. If pawn takes, we would take with the bishop and keep this. So now he's going to go here because he wants to go g3 and king there. And we can stop that pretty comfortably. King here, g3. Well, king f3 doesn't work because g2. And it'll take me a few moves. And then f3, there's g2. And then I got to king f2, king takes and mate. So I think king f1 is actually the move that wins. Because here, we go f3. And notice how we're keeping him in this box here. Yeah, and this doesn't actually... I don't think it helps him get out of things. If I go here, he takes... He opens up the G file. That might save him. So I think that he's mated if he doesn't get to use the G file. King G2 he takes. So we go F4. Now King G2. Now there's no stopping rook here because F3 just walks into that. And he's never going to be able to get out of that mating net. So that's hard to escape. It looks like long castling is like just a simple mate here, but you actually have to work really hard to get this checkmate. After bishop takes, pawn takes, king h5, I think it looks like this is the move, but I like king f1 a little bit more. There we go, e4. Okay, perfect timing. c4, d4, okay. Hit f6, attack the pawn, of course, defending it. Now I think bishop c5 is the classic move, but I kind of like this one. Takes e5, knight e4, or takes here. This also looks pretty comfortable. What do we want to do? D takes c6, zzz. Alright, I'll play the zzz move for you. This one's for you, Victor. Oh, bishop there. I think it needs to be e5. No, I'll play e5. Let's see if we can launch a dark square operation. Rook to the d file, ASAP. Yeah, bishop here. I think even h6 is fine. King e7. But bishop e7 is, I think at the moment, the most tempting. To play knight d7 and treat these guys. I want to make sure I keep white's pawns on dark squares. So here, for example, we'll do this. a5, knight c5. These are the kind of moves that we need to play. a5 to stop b4. So he's going to do b4 right now, which is absolutely a top tier move. Top tier move. So we'll go a5. Expect a3. Anything else would be a mistake. b5 gives us knight c5. So yeah, he can't really do that. But if I go rook d8 now, and he goes c5, I think we can take it. So rook d8 looks interesting. Also takes and c5 looks interesting. I'm gonna start with this. Yeah, c5, I think we can take, and knight takes c5. So bishop back is actually, let's say those are the moves that look like they need to happen. As for this, once again, I think I'm winning a pawn here. I'm getting that feeling a lot, so must be wrong. Must be wrong about it. Yeah, basically takes. Now we have two threats. I think knight takes c4 will be a good start. c5, rook takes anyway. I think rook d7 or knight d6 both, I think they both work here. Rook d7 next. Bishop here, I don't know, rook here. Rook c7 if bishop there. Let's play b5 next. Okay. Hey, you got me. You got me. I can't play b5. GG.